I want a divorce. Zara Bennett slowly lifted her eyes from the laptop. She didn't ask him to repeat himself. She didn't cry. She simply closed the spreadsheet she had been studying and turned the screen away. Seo Minwoo stood near the dining table, still wearing the suit he'd worn to the shareholders' dinner that evening. 3 years of marriage had taught Zara how to read his face. Tonight, he looked like a man who had rehearsed a lie until he almost believed it. "You're serious?" she asked. "Yes." "Is there another woman?" He hesitated. That was answer enough. Zara nodded once. "Yoon Hae-rin?" His eyes snapped toward her. "How do you know her name?" "Your mother mentioned her." "When?" 6 months ago." Zara reached for her glass of water. "She said Hae-rin would have been a more appropriate wife for you." Minwoo looked away. "She didn't mean it like that." Zara almost smiled. "You're still defending her." "I didn't come here to fight." "No. You came here to leave." Silence settled between them. For 3 years, Zara had lived inside this family as an outsider. She had learned to smile at dinners where people spoke about her as though she were furniture. She had learned to nod when Minwoo's relatives praised her Korean while secretly discussing how quickly their marriage might end. She had learned something else too. She understood Korean fluently. They didn't know that. And tonight, for the first time, she wondered whether that secret had protected her or simply allowed her to tolerate too much. Minwoo took a breath. "I don't want to hurt you." Zara looked directly at him. "You should have thought about that before you decided to leave." "I thought about it." "For how long?" "Months." She nodded. "So have I." He frowned. "What does that mean?" Zara opened her laptop again. "I've been investigating your family's accounts." His expression changed. "What?" "I found something unusual in the African expansion division." "Zara, this isn't the time." "It is exactly the time." She turned the laptop toward him. Several transactions were highlighted. Money has been leaving 3 subsidiaries through consulting companies that don't appear to have employees. Minwoo stared at the screen. "How much?" "Enough to make someone very nervous." His voice became quieter. "Who else knows?" "No one." "Are you sure?" "Yes." He stepped closer. "Zara, stop looking into this." She looked up. "Why?" He didn't answer. Then his phone vibrated. He checked the message. His face drained of color. Zara watched him carefully. "What did they say?" He slowly placed the phone on the table. The message contained only one sentence. "Tell your wife to stop asking questions." Zara felt the air leave the room. She looked at her husband. Then at the message. Then back at him. "You knew." Minwoo shook his head. "I swear I didn't." "But someone knew I was investigating." "Yes." "And someone knew you were divorcing me tonight." He said nothing. Zara closed the laptop. "Then this isn't about Hae-rin." Minwoo finally looked at her. "No." His voice was barely audible. "My family wants you gone." Zara stood. "Why?" Minwoo looked toward the door. "Because they think you've found something." She stared at him. "I haven't found everything." A beat of silence. Then Zara added. "But now I know exactly where to look." And somewhere inside the Han family empire, someone realized they had made a dangerous mistake. They had spent 3 years believing Zara Bennett was the woman who understood nothing. They were about to discover she had been listening to everything. End of Act 1. Minwoo didn't touch the phone. Neither did Zara. For several seconds they simply stared at the message. Then Zara asked, "Who sent it?" "I don't know." "You have the number." "I don't recognize it." "Then someone close to your family is hiding behind an unfamiliar number." Minwoo looked at her. "You need to leave." Zara's expression hardened. "I'm not leaving." "Zara, listen to me." "I have been listening for 3 years." That stopped him. She walked toward the kitchen and began making coffee. Minwoo watched her. "How can you act normal?" "I can't." She poured the coffee. "My hands are shaking." Only then did he notice the cup rattling slightly against the counter. She took one sip anyway. "Fear doesn't mean I stop thinking." Minwoo lowered himself into a chair. "My father controls the company. And your mother controls you." His eyes lifted. "You shouldn't say that." "What? Because it's true?" He looked away. Zara had spent 3 years watching him become smaller whenever his family entered the room. The confident man she had married disappeared around them. The sun returned. She had once mistaken that for loyalty. Now she understood it was fear. "I need to ask you something," she said. "What?" "Why did you really ask for the divorce tonight?" Minwoo didn't answer. Zara waited. Finally he said, My mother told me Heyrin's family would rescue the company. Rescue it from what? Debt. Zara frowned. The company isn't in debt. I know. Then why would she say that? Because something is wrong inside the company. Zara slowly placed her cup down. How long have you known? 3 months. She stared at him. You knew there was a financial problem and didn't tell me? I didn't know how serious it was. You knew enough to marry another woman to solve it. His face tightened. It wasn't supposed to happen like that. But it was happening. He had no answer. Zara walked back to her laptop. She opened the financial records again. Your mother isn't trying to replace me because she dislikes me. Minwoo looked up. She needs Heyrin's family. Exactly. Zara enlarged one transaction. This payment was made 11 days before your mother first mentioned Heyrin. Minwoo leaned closer. What is that company? A consulting firm registered in Singapore. Do they have an office? No. Employees? None that I can verify. He looked at her. So where did the money go? Zara smiled faintly. That's what I'm going to find out. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. You should have taken the divorce. Zara read it twice. Then another message appeared. Leave Seoul within 48 hours. Minwoo stood. Zara. She looked at him. For the first time, there was genuine fear in his eyes. Not fear for himself. Fear for her. He reached for her hand. Please. She looked down at his fingers around hers. 3 years ago, that touch would have been enough to make her surrender. Tonight, she gently pulled away. If I leave now, whoever sent that message wins. They could hurt you. They already did. His face fell. Zara closed her laptop. But this time, I'm not going to pretend I don't understand why. She looked directly at him. Tomorrow morning, we're going to find out who owns that company. Minwoo swallowed. And if it's someone in my family? Zara picked up her phone. Then tomorrow your family finds out exactly who they married. By 7:30 the next morning, Zara had already traced the first payment. The money had passed through 4 accounts before disappearing into a private investment fund. The name attached to the fund made her stop. Myri Holdings. She knew that name. It belonged to Yoon Heyrin's family. Minwoo stared at the screen. So my mother wasn't lying about needing their help. No, Zara said. But she's not telling you the whole truth. She opened another file. The money didn't go from your company directly to Myri. Someone created a chain of transactions to make it look unrelated. Can you prove it? I can prove where the money went. She clicked again. But I still need to know who authorized the transfers. Minwoo was silent. Then Zara noticed something. Wait. She enlarged one document. A digital approval appeared at the bottom. Minwoo's name. He went pale. I didn't authorize that. Are you sure? I would remember. Look at the date. He did. His face tightened. That was the day I was in Busan. Exactly. Zara leaned closer. Someone used your authorization credentials. Minwoo stood. Who had access? That's the question. He started pacing. My executive assistant. Anyone else? My father. Zara looked at him. Your mother? He hesitated. Yes. Zara closed the file. Then we have 3 possibilities. Which one do you believe? None. She stood. I don't trust anyone who had access. Her phone rang. It was Maya. Zara answered. Tell me you found something. I did, Maya said. But you won't like it. Zara moved toward the window. What? The shell company isn't the real destination. Then what is? An account belonging to a charitable foundation. Zara frowned. Whose foundation? Maya paused. Your husband's father's foundation. Zara closed her eyes. The money had never left the family. It had simply been hidden. She thanked Maya and ended the call. Minwoo was watching her. What? It's my father's foundation. I know. What are you going to do? Zara looked at him. Find out why. Her phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't Maya. It was an image. A photograph of Zara entering her office the previous afternoon. Underneath it were 4 words. We know where you live. Minwoo stepped closer. Call the police. Not yet. Why? Because whoever sent this wants me frightened. She looked at the photograph again. They made one mistake. What? They photographed me from inside the building. Minwoo stared at her. You're saying the person is close? I'm saying they had access. She grabbed her coat. Where are we going? To the foundation. No. Minwoo blocked the door. If someone is watching you, walking into my father's office is insane. Zara looked him directly in the eye. Then come with me. He hesitated. She opened the door. If you're finally choosing to stand beside me, Minwoo, this is where you prove it. He followed her. Neither of them noticed the man waiting across the street. He watched Zara leave. Then he made one phone call. She found the foundation. Pause. His expression hardened. Then we don't have 48 hours anymore. The foundation looked ordinary from the outside. That was what made Zara nervous. Minwoo parked across the street. You're sure this is the right place? Yes. How? The foundation's public records show this address. But the company's filings show a different one. He looked at her. You found that last night? I found it at 3:12 this morning. He shook his head. You didn't sleep. Neither did you. She opened the car door. Before they could step out, her phone rang. Ma. Zara answered. Don't go inside. Zara froze. Why? I traced the foundation's administrator. And? He died 18 months ago. Minwoo leaned closer. Zara frowned. Then who has been approving the transfers? That's what I couldn't figure out. Maya lowered her voice. Until I found the backup authorization. Whose? Pause. Your husband's mother. Zara looked at Minwoo. He had heard enough from her expression. No, he said. Zara ended the call. For several seconds neither moved. My mother wouldn't do this, Minwoo whispered. Zara looked at him. You said that about your father yesterday. He had no answer. They entered the building through a side entrance. Inside, the hallway smelled faintly of dust and old paper. The receptionist looked up, then immediately looked down again. Zara noticed. She's expecting us, she whispered. How do you know? She stopped breathing when she saw you. They reached the third floor. A door stood open. Inside was a small records room. Zara searched the cabinets. Nothing. Then she noticed a framed photograph on the wall. The family. His father. His mother. Minwoo. And Hae-rin. She stared at the picture. Why is she here? Minwoo stepped beside her. That photograph was taken at my father's foundation ceremony. When? 2 years ago. Zara pointed to Hae-rin. Look at her hand. She was holding a folder. The same folder number appeared on a financial document Zara had found that morning. Minwoo's face changed. Hae-rin worked here. Not worked. Zara pulled open a drawer. She controlled the foundation. Inside were copies of transfer instructions. Every suspicious payment had passed through the foundation. And every approval carried 2 signatures. His mother's and Hae-rin's. Minwoo stared at the documents. She was never just a potential wife. No. Zara looked at him. She was their partner. A noise came from the hallway. Footsteps. Someone was approaching. Minwoo reached for the door. Zara shook her head. Don't. Why? Because whoever is coming knows we're here. The footsteps stopped outside. Then the door opened. Han Mi-suk stood there. Minwoo's mother. She looked at Zara first. Then at her son. Her expression wasn't angry. It was almost sad. You should have left when I gave you the chance. Zara stepped forward. You mean when you tried to scare me out of Seoul? Mi-suk's eyes narrowed. You understood us all along. Zara smiled. Every word. For the first time, the older woman looked genuinely unsettled. Minwoo stepped between them. Mother, tell me the truth. Mi-suk looked at her son. Then at the documents. You don't understand what your father has done. Then explain it. She swallowed. I was trying to stop him. Zara's expression changed. By helping him move the money? No. Mi-suk shook her head. I moved it because I discovered he was planning to blame everything on you. Minwoo stared at her. His mother continued. I thought I could protect you both. Zara stepped closer. Then why did you arrange his divorce? Mi-suk said nothing. And that silence told Zara there was still one more secret. Mi-suk looked at her son for a long moment. Then she closed the door behind her. You want the truth? Minwoo nodded. I have wanted it my entire life. His mother looked down at the documents. Your father started moving the money 2 years ago. Zara remained silent. He used the foundation because he knew no one would question charitable transfers. When I discovered what he was doing, I tried to stop him. By signing the transfers? Mi-suk looked at Zara. If I refused, he would have transferred everything into accounts I couldn't reach. Minwoo's voice hardened. And Hae-rin? She discovered what your father was doing. Zara frowned. Then why work with him? She wasn't working with him. Misuk hesitated. She was blackmailing him. The room went silent. Zara felt the pieces shift. Haerin knew about the money. She knew everything. And your family wanted Minwoo to marry her? Misuk nodded. Your father believed her family could make the problem disappear. Minwoo stepped back. So my marriage was a business transaction. His mother didn't answer. That woman was supposed to replace Zara because her family could protect the company. Yes. He stared at his mother. And you allowed it. I thought I was protecting you. You keep saying that. His voice broke. But every time you say it, someone else is the one you sacrifice. Misuk looked toward Zara. I never wanted her dead. Zara's expression changed. Dead? Minwoo turned sharply. What do you mean? His mother realized too late what she had said. Zara stepped forward. You weren't just trying to force me out of Korea. Misuk remained silent. Someone was going to hurt me. I stopped them. Who? Misuk looked at her son. Your father. Minwoo's face went blank. He ordered someone to take the evidence from you. Zara remembered the photograph. The threatening messages. The footsteps outside the records room. That's why someone entered my office. Misuk nodded. I intercepted the first attempt. First? Zara's voice became colder. How many attempts? 2. Minwoo looked horrified. Mother. I did what I could. No. He shook his head. You knew she was in danger and still asked me to divorce her. I needed you to keep her away from the company. You needed me to make her disappear. Misuk's eyes filled with tears. I was trying to save my son. Zara looked at her. And I was never your son. The words silenced the room. Zara gathered the documents. Where is your husband now? Misuk hesitated. At the headquarters. Then we're going there. Minwoo grabbed Zara's arm. No. She looked at him. You heard her. He tried to hurt you. Exactly. You can't walk into his office. Zara gently removed his hand. I've spent 3 years being told where I could stand, what I could say, and when I should leave. She held up the documents. I'm finished asking permission. Her phone buzzed. A new message. Come to the headquarters alone. Bring the original records. Zara showed Minwoo. He stared at the screen. Then looked at his mother. Misuk whispered one sentence. It's a trap. Zara nodded. I know. She picked up her coat. That's why we're going. Zara and Minwoo arrived at the headquarters 11 minutes later. Misuk stayed behind. She had given them one final warning. Your father will expect you to come alone. Minwoo looked at Zara. He'll be disappointed. They entered through the main lobby. No security guard stopped them. That frightened Zara more than if someone had tried. The elevator opened directly onto the executive floor. The doors parted. Choi Sung-jin was waiting. He stood beside the conference table, completely calm. You brought her. Minwoo stepped forward. She stays. His father smiled. You've finally grown a spine. Zara placed the documents on the table. You wanted the original records. Sung-jin glanced at them. Did you make copies? Yes. Where? Already delivered. His smile disappeared. To whom? People who don't work for you. For the first time the chairman looked worried. Zara pulled out her phone. Every transfer. Every authorization. Every communication. She placed the phone on the table. And the recording of your wife explaining how you planned to blame me. Sung-jin looked at Minwoo. Your mother betrayed me? She protected you longer than you deserved. His father laughed bitterly. You think this woman cares about you? Minwoo didn't answer. Sung-jin turned toward Zara. You destroyed my family. No. Zara's voice remained steady. You destroyed it when you decided your son's marriage was a financial strategy. The chairman stepped closer. You don't understand what power costs. I understand numbers. She pointed to the documents. And numbers don't care how powerful you are. His expression hardened. You think the authorities will touch me? I don't know. Zara looked him directly in the eye. But I know they'll have the evidence. He suddenly reached for the documents. Minwoo stepped between them. Don't. His father stared at him. You would choose her over your family? Minwoo's answer came without hesitation. I choose the truth. His father's face changed. For the first time he looked less like a chairman and more like a disappointed father. You have no idea what you're giving up. Minwoo nodded. I know exactly what I'm giving up. He looked at Zara. The life you built for me. Then he turned back. And I'm finally choosing my own. Sirens sounded below. Sung-jin froze. Zara hadn't called them. Minwoo hadn't either. Mi-suk had. The chairman slowly sat down. His shoulders dropped. The empire he'd spent decades protecting had finally become too heavy to carry. As investigators entered the floor, Songjin looked at Zara one last time. I underestimated you. Zara picked up her phone. You weren't the first. Then she walked away. Minwoo followed. But at the elevator, Zara stopped. Minwoo. Yes. I meant what I said about the divorce. He looked at her. I know. I can't simply pretend none of this happened. I don't want you to. The elevator doors opened. They stepped inside. For the first time in 3 years, neither of them was running from the truth. And neither knew what would happen after it. But at least now the choice would finally belong to them. 4 months later, the Han family empire looked nothing like it had before. The chairman resigned. 2 senior executives were arrested. The investigation uncovered years of concealed transfers, and Hae-rin's family withdrew from the proposed merger before investigators could question them publicly. Mi-suk testified against her husband. She also admitted that she had spent years treating Zara as someone who needed to prove she deserved to belong. That admission didn't erase anything. Zara didn't forgive her overnight. Some wounds didn't close simply because the truth had finally been spoken. Zara returned to work. Not to the Han company. To herself. She opened a small financial advisory firm specializing in forensic investigations and international business. Her first office had only 3 desks. 1 belonged to her. 1 belonged to Maya. The third stayed empty for almost 2 months because Zara refused to hire someone just to make the office look successful. On the morning her first major client signed the contract, Maya walked in carrying breakfast. Eat. Zara looked inside the bag. Jollof. Your mother sent it. Zara laughed. She sent food from Lagos to Seoul? Apparently, she doesn't trust you to feed yourself. Zara opened the container. The smell took her back to the first year of her marriage, when she had cooked the same dish for Minwoo's family. Back then, she had watched his mother take 1 bite before politely pushing the plate aside. Now Zara took a spoonful. Tasted like home. Her phone buzzed. A message from Minwoo. Can we talk? She stared at it for several seconds. Maya noticed. You don't have to answer. I know. Zara typed. Where? An hour later, they met at the same small restaurant where they had once eaten after discovering the first hidden transfer. Minwoo looked different. Not poorer. Just lighter. He had left the family company. He was working independently now. No family title. No boardroom waiting for him. Just his own name. I heard your company is doing well, he said. It is. I'm proud of you. Zara smiled faintly. You should be proud of yourself too. He looked surprised. For what? For finally becoming your own person. He lowered his eyes. I've spent months thinking about what you said. Which part? That you never asked me to choose between you and my family. He paused. You asked me to stop abandoning myself. Zara said nothing. I should have understood that 3 years ago. You weren't ready. I am now. She looked at him. He reached into his pocket and placed a small envelope on the table. What is that? The divorce papers. Zara looked at him. I thought you wanted me to sign them months ago. I did. He pushed the envelope toward her. Then I realized something. She waited. I didn't want our marriage to end because my family had decided it should. His voice was quiet. I wanted the first real decision I made about us to be ours. Zara opened the envelope. The papers were already signed by him. No pressure. No demand. Just a choice. She looked up. You're letting me decide. Yes. That must be difficult for you. He smiled. It is. For the first time she laughed. Not because everything was fixed. It wasn't. But because the man sitting across from her was finally learning the difference between loving someone and possessing a future with them. Zara signed. Then she closed the folder. Neither of them cried. Neither asked for another chance. Not yet. Outside, Seoul moved around them. Cars passed. People hurried toward work. Life continued. Zara slipped the divorce papers into her bag. Then Minwoo asked quietly, Can I take you to dinner sometime? She looked at him. Not as your wife. I know. Not as someone you're trying to win back. I know. She considered him. Then maybe. He smiled. And this time, Zara didn't mistake hope for a promise. She simply let it exist. 6 months later, she stood outside her new office before sunrise, coffee in one hand and the brass key in the other. The same key that had once opened a room filled with secrets. She had kept it all this time. Not because she needed it, because she remembered the woman who had once been afraid to turn it. Zara looked at the key. Then she placed it in the drawer and locked it away. Some doors were meant to teach you something, not to become your home. She picked up her coffee and walked inside. This time, nobody was waiting to decide whether she belonged. She already knew. What did this story teach you about trust, self-respect, and knowing when to stop shrinking yourself for people who refuse to see your worth? Drop your thoughts below and subscribe for more stories that will change how you see the world.